Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Hope you're all well, everyone. Can I have a quick sound check, please? We have Batman and Iron Man. Alaikum assalam, Surah. آمين. قل رب أعوذ بك من همزات الشياطين وأعوذ بك رب أن يحضرون. Thank you, all clear. All right, okay. I'm probably going to start more quickly today, just because there's a lot. I'm not even sure if I'm going to get through all of this or not. I want to try to finish up as best I can the issue of Taghut. It hasn't translated well from Evernote, unfortunately. I'm just fixing up a few things on the presentation, and we'll get started with it. But yeah, I want to try and finish off well what I have anyway to say so far on the Taghut, and we touched on it a little bit last time, which is the whole issue of freedom of religion and the relationship of the Taghut with that. It's pretty interesting, very interesting, and also the most dangerous thing about the Taghut and why we are told to actually stay clear of them completely, just to not be in ibadah to them, but to stay away completely from the Taghut. How dangerous the Taghut can be. The most dangerous thing about the Taghut. So I want to look at that a little bit as well. And let's just get this started. Might not look as well as I wanted, but it never really does it? Okay. I mean, one of the good things about starting these streams, as you know, the videos which I make by myself are, few and far between. It takes me a while to get them done properly. And at least this way it's forcing me to actually, be here every week trying to share what would probably at my rate take much longer. All right, let's share the whole screen. First of all, I'm going to be another reason why this might take a bit longer is because I'm going to be trying to. Somebody brought up a question last time about Surah Al-Hadid, so I want to address that first before going into the whole thing. So I have to share the entire screen if I remember. Okay, let's make it the full thing like this. And all right, okay, so behind this. Okay, good. So last time we had this question from Hamid Man, and I actually caught that just because this stream is going to be a continuation, like we said, on the topic of Taghut. So I listened to the previous one just to make sure of what I'd said, what I'd missed out, so I can continue this time. So then I caught this in the beginning that he asked about this, and I couldn't really answer it very well because it wasn't something which I'd thought of. So just today I probably haven't given it as much thought as it deserves anyway. But because I was preparing today and I watched last week's stream a little bit and sort of beginning this question, I ended up thinking about it. So I thought I'd put this in the beginning. So the question was, the verse says, that verse 57 from Surah 57, Surah Al-Hadid, verse 21. The verse says that Jannah is prepared for those who have Iman in God and His messengers. And note that it's in the plural, not Iman in God and His messenger, right? The messengers, which is interesting because that verse, of course, is addressing the people then. Okay, and usually it says, those who have Iman in Allah and His messenger, right? But here it's messengers. And it doesn't mention good deeds or actions. Seemingly it doesn't. So how does that fit in with that the whole Quran from beginning to end is always talking about those who have, let me just put in my charger, hold on. Those who have, those who, who will enter Jannah because of their actions and by taqwa. 1 second. Okay, there we go. The screen is a little bit up now. And really, my answer for it after just going and reading through that surah again is you just need to look a few verses back. Just need to look just 2 verses back really, and you will be able to see what is meant by الذين آمنوا بالله ورسله. Okay, الذين آمنوا بالله ورسله, those who have faith in Allah and His messengers. So if you go back just 2 verses before that, verse 19, it says والذين آمنوا بالله ورسله, and those who have had faith in God and His messengers, they are the صديقون and the shuhada in God's sight. أولئك هم الصديقون والشهداء عند ربهم. Okay, so in the context definitely of this surah, the context definitely of the next, the next verse which is coming up, which is saying what Jannah is prepared to, it is talking about those who are really true believers, have true iman in God and all His messengers. Okay, in God's sight, who are they? In God's sight, who are they? They are the siddiqun and the shuhada inda rabbihim. They are those. لهم أجرهم ونورهم. Okay, for them is their reward and their light. والذين كفروا وكذبوا بآياتنا أولئك أصحاب الجحيم, and those who have kafaru and given the lie to our signs, they are companions of the fire. So this section is encouraging us to be like that. The whole section, if you read it, go back and read that part of Surah Hadid. It's encouraging us to be like that. It wants us, to be like those who truly have faith and in God and His messenger in His sight. So in God's sight, those who have truly believed in God and His messenger are those who are completely truthful. Those who are completely truthful, as-siddiqun, and they are shuhada, which is a huge topic in the Quran. Okay, the shuhada are those, الذين هم بشهاداتهم قائمون, those who are shuhada lillah. All right, كونوا قوامين بالقسط شهداء لله. It's a big thing. It's to stand up to give your testimony for God only. Okay, just give me 1 second. All right. So when the next verse describes, so the next verse after that, after verse 19, this one which says, who are those who believe in God and His messengers in God's sight, they are the siddiqun and shuhada. The verse afterwards talks about this lowly life, literally hayat ad-dunya, a lowly life. It describes it as nothing but play and adornments and mutual boasting and amassing of wealth and children, etc. And then the next verse after that says, race to Jannah. Okay, race to Jannah. Prepared for those who have believed in God and His messengers, meaning prepared for those who are siddiqun and shuhada, meaning race to be siddiqun and shuhada, right? That's what you should be racing towards, to be of the siddiqun and shuhada, race to be of those who have truly believed in God and His messengers in God's sight. Okay, and this again, because when I thought about it briefly during the question last week, I equated that with taqwa, all right? Because if you have those 2 verses, one verse which says that Jannah is prepared for those who have faith in God and His messengers, and another verse which says that Jannah is prepared for those who are muttaqeen, then these 2 should be linked in some way. And lo and behold, they are, because when you look at the shuhada, because both sidq and shahada are parts of taqwa. Both sidq and shahada, so siddiqun and shuhada, these 2 groups are people of taqwa. These two fall under taqwa. And you can see that in other verses. So for sidq and taqwa, how they are linked, you can see this verse, وَالَّذِي جَاءَ بِالصِّدْقِ وَصَدَّقَ بِهِ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُتَّقُونَ. Okay, so to be of the siddiqun, in God's sight is to be of the muttaqeen as well. الذي جاء, to be a person who brings forth sidq, and when sidq is offered towards you, you accept it. Okay, that is part of taqwa. And I actually have, Hassan Malik has mentioned this, and have a translation of a video talking about that, the definition of taqwa in the Quran, and talking about how sidq is directly related to that. And then for shahada, how is that linked to taqwa? There are many verses about that, but this is one of the key ones. Is Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, or you have faith, kunu qawwamina lillahi shuhada'a bil qist. Okay, be those who are standing up, qawwamina lillah, stand up for God, shuhada'a bil qist, witnesses with qist. And there's another verse where this is flipped, kunu shuhada'a lillah qawwamina bil qist. I mentioned that in the, I think in the video essay, Quranic Islam and Inherited Islam, both two. And it says here, وَلَا يَجْرِمَنَّكُمْ شَنَآنُ قَوْمٍ عَلَىٰ أَلَّا تَعْدِلُوا اعْدِلُوا هُوَ أَقْرَبُ لِلتَّقْوَى. And let not the hostility of a people prevent you from being just. Be just, it is nearer to taqwa. Here, of course, it says righteousness, but the word inside, of course, is taqwa. Right? وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ, okay, إِنَّ اللَّهَ خَبِيرٌ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ. So, shahada and sidq are both linked to taqwa. And so there was two verses, one which says Jannah is prepared for the muttaqeen, and the other for those who have believed in God and His Messenger as in God's sight. Those who in God's sight are those who have faith in God and His Messenger, not in our sight. We can say, okay, this person, we have faith in God and His Messenger. This person has faith in God and His messengers. And sorry, this should be plural. Okay, but in God's sight, are we? In God, no. In God's sight, who are those who believe in God and His messengers? They are the Siddiqun and the Shuhada. Okay, they are the Siddiqun and the Shuhada. Not even the Salihun, right? Because you have that verse, whoever obeys God and the Messenger, فَأُولَٰئِكَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ. Whoever obeys God and His Messenger, then they are among those whom God has bestowed on His grace. Who are they? النبيون والصديقون والشهداء والصالحين. Right, those four groups: the prophets, the Siddiqun, the Shuhada, and the Salihin. The Salihin are not that. Okay, the Salihin are not even that. Either the Shuhada or the Siddiqun, or maybe even the Shuhada. You have to be of the Shuhada and the Siddiqun. For you to be in God's sight of those who truly believe in God and His messengers. And perhaps the idea of having the shuhada in there is you have to have shahada, you have to stand up with your shahada for all of the messengers. Anyway, let's go. So that's my answer to that for Hamid Man, if you're listening, or if you will listen later. I can't see anybody right now. I'm looking at the full screen, so I'm not sure what anybody's saying in the chat. And I want to get through. There's a lot I want to get through, so I'm just going to continue. So Taqut, the Taghut, and freedom. So, this is the key verse that I started off with last week. وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا أَنْ يَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَاجْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتَ. Right, and we certainly sent into every nation a messenger saying, being ibadah to Allah and avoid the Taghut. Okay, and this verse I mentioned, I didn't show it last week, but I said, it starts with wa. Okay, so whenever you have these kind of verses, it starts with wa or and or something, look at the verse beforehand, because again, this verse shows you the direct link with shirk. Okay, so the verse before it says وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا, and those who have ashraku have said, okay, they say, لو شاء الله ما عبدنا من دونه من شيء. We would not be in ibadah to other than Him of anything, neither us nor our forefathers, and nor would we have made anything haram other than what He has made haram. Okay, and then the verse says كذلك فعل الذين من قبلهم. But that is what those before them did. Okay, that's what those who before them did, and they are just following in their footsteps. Okay, and then the interesting thing here at the end, it says فهل على الرسل إلا البلاغ المبين. But is there anything upon the messengers except the clear preaching? Meaning that their forefathers also had the messengers had already come before them to their forefathers, given the clear balagh. Okay, for the Arabs it was of course Ibrahim and Ismail. Okay, they had already come giving the clear speech, because it seems here as if they are imputing God. So they're saying, it's God's fault, right? If he had wanted, we would not have done this. Yeah, but God had intervened by sending messengers previously. And so that's why the next verse says, وَلَقَدْ, and we did. But it's like saying, here it says and, okay, but you could say, but we certainly, instead of the wa, it could be translated into the English here, but we certainly did send into every nation a messenger, saying, worship Allah and avoid the taghut. Okay, so that you had that this is not something that you can put on God. Okay, they say, وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا, if God had willed, we would not have been ibadat to anything other than Him. No, because God had sent messengers and they had given it clearly, بَلَاغٌ مُبِينٌ, and they had all said, يَعْبُدُ اللَّهِ اجْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتِ. Okay, being ibadat to God and shun or completely avoid the taghut. Okay, so we talked a lot about the taghut last time, and this time I want to focus on this specific angle of the taghut, which is the relationship of taghut with freedom of religion. Okay, and this is the key verse, the verse right after Ayat al-Kursi. Starts off, La ikrah fi din. There is no ikrah, no compulsion in religion. Very famous verse, I'm sure you've all heard it. قد تبين الرشد من الغي. Right course has become clear from wrong. So whoever disbelieves in the taghut and believes in Allah has grasped the most trustworthy handhold with no break in it. And Allah is hearing and knowing. Now, sort of like paraphrasing this a little bit. So there's no coercion in religion. Why? La ikraha fi din. Why should there be no ikraha fi din? Because rushd. Sorry, it says rush. There should be a D here. Rushd is clear from ghay, right? Rushd, rashad is clear from ghay. So there's no need to be a taghut and force people. There's no need. It's all clear. Okay, the taghut would want to force people, but Allah doesn't. Okay, Allah says, La ikraha fi din, but the taghut is not in that. Right? There's no need for so there's no need to believe in or accept any type of coercion or taghut in religion. There's a lot of typos here. I'm sorry because I just typed these out quickly. So you must reject that. You must reject that. All right, as it says here, قد تبين الرشد من الغي فمن يكفر بالطاغوت. To kufr with the taghut, this oppression. Oppression of what? Oppression of being opposed to la ikraha fi din. Oppression of being opposed to no compulsion in religion. Okay, you have to reject that. Okay, and instead have iman in Allah. Have iman in la ikraha fi din. Right? Have iman that there's no compulsion in religion. You must reject that. And whoever rejects such a taghut, those who push that, and instead has faith in God and faith in no compulsion in the deen, then they have grasped a truly trustworthy handhold which will not break. Okay, it will not break exactly because of that, because you have iman of, no compulsion in religion. Having that is part of the trustworthy handhold that will not break, right? Whereas the taghut will push. No, we have to force people. We have to force people. So that, we have to protect the deen and not let it break by forcing people. Okay, well, in fact, that will do the opposite. Okay, the deen doesn't need you to protect it from breaking by using compulsion or coercion. All right. Whereas by allowing freedom, no compulsion in religion, no coercion, that is what will keep the deen together. Right. That is a trustworthy handhold. So quite the opposite. If you employ tughyan and compulsion and become a taghut, then you are in darkness and you will be leading those who follow you out of the light and into darkness. Okay, those who follow you out of the light that they accepted. If there are some people who accept, when people learn the deen in the beginning, or when converts first come to the deen, they hear about this like ikraha fi din, no compulsion in religion, and it's fine. Okay, but then what happens is they accept the taghut within the religion, telling them no, that we must, for example, kill apostates. All right. So then what happens is these taghuts are taking them out of light into darkness. Okay. Whereas with God, He's the one who will take those who reject who reject the taghut and accept Him from that same darkness back into light. And that's why you have the next verse. The next verse immediately after that previous verse, Allahu waliyul ladhina amanu, God is the Lord of those who believe, because they accept His Lordship, He will bring them out of darkness into the light. Okay, by that they're accepting what He's saying, accepting, for example, like here, like ikraha fid din, no compulsory religion. By accepting that, He's bringing them out of darkness into light, out of this darkness of always trying to control other people, control their religion, control their ideas, control, trying to oppress people. It's a darkness. Constantly trying to worry about what these people are doing. These people here, these murtads here, these kuffar here, these Jews. We have to try and conquer, make them submit or not. It's darkness, and it's heavy, right? It occupies your time in just nothing but darkness, fills your heart with all of this anger and hate and etc. No, accept Allah as your Lord, accept what He is saying, reject the taghut, and He will bring you out of that darkness into light. Whereas الذين كفروا, those who have kafaru, أولياءهم الطاغوت, their lords are the taghut. They bring them out of light and into darkness. So if you are in light and you accept the taghut, that taghut will bring you out of light and into darkness. Okay, they will make the good bad and the bad good, right? They will tell you that, So, I wrote it here, but unfortunately, those who come to take the taghut as their lords can become so devoted to them that they will even fight and die for them. Okay, maybe I mentioned it later, but what I was saying here is that the taghut will take you out of darkness into light, and they won't do it by saying, "Hey, I'm taking you out of darkness into light." No, they will be telling you, "No, I'm taking you from darkness into light," when they are doing the opposite, right? So they will take you, they will spin it in that way, okay? Because that is how shaitan influences the taghut. We spoke about this last time, al-dalal al-ba'id, the far misguidance, where you think the good is bad and the bad is good, okay? So it will be put into language, the taghut will put it into language where it's supposed to be guidance, but it isn't guidance. It will put into language where it's as if he's taking you into light, but it's not taking you into light, it's taking you into darkness. And you see that with the rhetoric of the fanatics. You see that clearly. They have all of the rhetoric. They use the Quran, they use hadith, they use all of this thing. They even use arguments which are supposed to be intellectual, okay? But the end result is they are taking you out of light into darkness. They are taking you out of the blanket light of God of la ikraha fid din, for example, no compulsory religion, and they are pushing you into the darkness of you must kill apostates. If we had a Islamic caliphate, then we should go out and try and invade the world and tell them if you become Muslim or accept the jizya, or you fight until we kill till one of us dies. That's where they'll push you. And that's why you have it mentioned about the fighting. And that's the next verse we're going to look at. So I wrote it here beforehand. But unfortunately, those who can come to take the taghut as their lords can become so devoted to them that they will even fight and die for them. Fight and die in order to control others the way their taghuts want them to be controlled and compelled in the deen. Right? So they will do that. They will become enlisted. So it's mentioned here in this verse, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا يُقَاتِلُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Those who have faith, they fight in the cause of Allah. Again, I'm using this simple example of compulsory religion because we're talking about freedom here and taghut, but it applies to everything surrounding the taghut vis-a-vis Allah, right? Ibadullah, which tanibu taghut, being ibadat to Allah and stay away from the taghut. Okay, applies to all of it, but just talking about it here, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا يُقَاتِلُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Okay, Sabilillah, for example, the cause of Allah, that there is no compulsion of religion. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا will fight for that. Okay, وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا يُقَاتِلُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ الطَّاغُوتِ. But those who have kafaru will fight in the path of the taghut. The path of the taghut, the sabil al-taghut, which will be the opposite of that, will be ikrah, will be compulsion of religion, coercion. Okay, trying to think. And so he says here, look at the presence of shaitan, as we mentioned. فَقَاتِلُوا, so fight أَوْلِيَاءَ الشَّيْطَانِ. So fight the awliya of shaitan. Okay, fight these allies of shaitan. إِنَّ كَيْدَ الشَّيْطَانِ كَانَ ضَعِيفًا. The plot of shaitan is weak. And it's true, the plot of shaitan is weak, but often we are weaker. Often people can be much weaker because they allow their hearing, their sight, their hearts, their intellect to be ruled by others. Okay, and if you allow them to be ruled by others, they will play around with you. Okay, so again, I wrote it here. And note the presence of Shaitan, who we saw before with the Taghut, and is there again. So remember, we looked at the verse last week. يَتَحَاكَمُونَ إِلَى الطَّاغُوتِ, right? Do you see those who have, the verse says, do you see those who claim they have faith in what was revealed to you and what was revealed before you? They wish to يَتَحَاكَمُونَ, seek the judgment to the Taghut. وَقَدْ أُمُرُوا أَنْ يَكْفُرُوا بِهَا, and they were commanded to be in kufr towards it. Okay, وَيُرِيدُ الشَّيْطَانَ أَنْ يُضِلَّهُمْ ضَلَالًا بَعِيدًا, and Shaitan wishes to misguide them in the far way, the furthest way. Okay, so of the Taghut, Shaitan misguides al-dalal al-ba'id, the far misguidance, which is where you think the good is bad and the bad is good. Okay, where you think darkness is light and light is darkness. Okay, like complete freedom of religion is bad and killing apostates is good. Killing religious apostates is good. Okay, this is al-dalal al-ba'id. Okay, now I want to turn because he's put into the Quran a lot for a reason, and he is the great Taghi in the Quran, right? Fir'aun, the great Taghut, and freedom of religion. So we're going to look at this a little bit because it's very interesting. So here we have, for example, وقال in Surah Al-A'raf, وقال الملأ من قوم فرعون, and the eminent among the people of Fir'aun said. So these are all parts of the Taghut as well. They are Taghuts with Fir'aun. Okay, when we talk about the Taghut, yes, Fir'aun is a Taghut, but he's, you can say he's the Taghiyah, the one tyrant. Taghut could be the whole thing. Okay, because the word Taghut as well, I mean, we've mentioned many times that it's people, but it doesn't have to just be people. It can be the ideas that these leaders are espousing. And of course, the ideas are being put forward by people. A cultural idea or oppression that people seek judgment towards, that can be a Taghut as well. But these are always upheld by people. Okay. وقال الملأ من قوم فرعون أتذر موسى وقومه ليفسدوا في الأرض. Will you leave Musa and his people to cause corruption in the land and abandon you and your gods? Okay. Interesting, right? So again, look how the Taghut speaks. The Taghut speaks by making the good into fasad, the salah into fasad, and the fasad into salah, the light into darkness, the darkness into light. So he's saying here, are you going to leave Musa to cause fasad? He's going to cause corruption. Are you going to let him do that? Musa, he's causing the corruption. And then in the same breath they say, and of course, and leave you and your gods, right? Are you going to let them do that? Let them have freedom of religion? No, you can't let them do that. Qala, Fir'aun said, what do I do? I'm going to, kill their sons and mustahi nisa'ahum, okay, and keep their women, okay, and we are above them, subjugating them, all right, and that's not fasad. So he sees this. Fir'aun sees this as good thing. This is what I must do, right, to preserve the religion, to preserve, to not allow any corruption to happen. I need to do this. I need to kill the sons, and then to take the women as hostage. So again, this is Shaitan, right? He makes the good bad and the bad good. زَيَّنَ لَهُمْ أَعْمَالُهُم. It's mentioned about Fir'aun in other verses about Fir'aun and his people, that Shaitan, made pleasing to them what they did. Okay, it's like this. It makes pleasing to them. That you make the hero into the villain, and yourself, who is doing villainous acts, you are the hero. You're the one who's saving people. You're the one who's protecting the religion and protecting the people. Okay. وَتِلْكَ نِعْمَةٌ, and here a very interesting thing. Fir'aun, when Musa is speaking, the dialogue between Musa and Fir'aun, Musa says to him, and this is the favor which you remind me, and that's something I forgot to put in. We're going to speak about it later, but the deception of the Taghut and how they embezzle of words. Okay, because before this, what Fir'aun was saying to Musa, saying, didn't we raise you? Okay, didn't we give you this? Weren't we good to you? Right? Okay, and now you are one of the kafirin. Right? Fir'aun calls Musa of the kafirin. Right? وأنت من لم نربك فينا وليدا ولبثت فينا من عمرك سنين. Okay, وفعلت فعلتك الذي فعلت وأنت من الكافرين. Right? Didn't we raise you? Okay, and you stayed with us for a long time, right? And then you did what you did, and you are of the kafirin, right? So Fir'aun starts to talk about what he did, the favors. I did this for you. But then Musa brings and says, وَتِلْكَ نِعْمَةٌ تَمُنُّهَا عَلَيَّ, and this is a favor of which you remind me, that you have enslaved the children of Israel, and عَبَّدْتَ بَنِي Israel. Now here, the interesting thing is the Quran doesn't really talk about Bani Israel as being slaves, right? I mean, we know this in sort of like history, the biblical history, that they were made into slaves, and I don't know what they built. I mean, they didn't build the pyramids, right? Bani Israel, but what were they used to? What kind of bondage were they in? What were they did? But I think, of course, I'm not denying that they were slaves, but I think here there's a double meaning here. Because remember, like what we said before, I mean, I don't know if we said it here or I said it somewhere else, but Bani Israel, when they were in Egypt, they were not really monotheists. They were not monotheists, okay? Which is why, even when they crossed the Sea of Musa saved them, all right? And, they came across people with idols, and they said, okay, Musa, make for us an ilah, like they have an ilah. Why did they say that? Because while they were in Egypt, their ilah, their god, was Fir'aun. Fir'aun was their god, right? So when Fir'aun is not our god anymore, they cross the sea, we need a god. Musa, make for us a god like these people. See here, they've got some idols. We need one too, right? And of course, Musa, blames them a lot. But then, of course, when Musa goes away, they make the golden calf, and then, etc. Okay, so I think here what this is double meaning. And عبدت بني Israel means that you have made them in ibadah towards you. Okay, they were in ibadah to Fir'aun. Okay, وتلك نعمة تمنها علي أن عبدت بني إسرائيل. And this is a favor which you remind me of, that you made the children of Israel in ibadah to you. They've taken you as a god. They've taken you as a taghut, right? So here again, so remember, if he said this to Musa, he definitely made it for all of Bani Israel. He said to Musa, and again we're talking about the freedom of religion of the Taghut. The Taghut will not allow freedom of religion. The Taghut coerces. قال لئن اتخذت إلها غيري لأجعلنك من المسجونين. If you take a god other than me, I will surely place you among the imprisoned. Okay, that's what he said. Fir'aun said to Musa. If he said that to Musa, you can be sure he said it to the rest of Bani Israel. And of course, most of Bani Israel, they took him as an ilah. Okay, which is why I say again that this verse here, عبدت بني إسرائيل, means that Bani Israel were in ibadah to Fir'aun. They were in ibadah to Fir'aun. Another one, okay. قال, this is with of course, the magicians, right? The magicians who, when they were, when the sort of the challenge, right? The challenge between Musa and the magicians happened, and of course, Musa's stick gobbled up their sticks, etc. And all the magicians fell down prostrating and said, "We believe in the Lord of the worlds, the Lord of Musa and Harun." What did Fir'aun say? He said, قَالَ آمَنْتُمْ لَهُ قَبْلَ أَنْ آذَنَ لَكُمْ. You believed in him before I gave you permission? I'm the one who has complete control of deen, of religion. Okay? You don't believe in him unless I let you. Right? And then look, again, this is the danger of the Taghut, which is why اجتنبوا الطاغوت, stay away from the Taghut. They speak, right? The Taghut speaks. And he has a challenge, and he puts an argument, right? And it can sway people who are listening. Okay? And not only did they do that, but they follow it up with oppression. Okay, so he says, إِنَّهُ لَكَبِيرُكُمُ الَّذِي عَلَّمَكُمُ السِّحْرَ. He is your leader, okay, who taught you magic. So now he's putting in these doubts and in these insinuations. Of course, all nonsense, but that's how they're going to justify things. Shaitan zayyana lahum. Shaitan embellishes things, tricks them, beguiles them. And then, of course, more coercion and religion. لَوَقَطِّعَنَّ أَيْدِيَكُمْ وَأَرْجُلَكُمْ مِنْ خِلَافٍ. Surely I will cut off your hands and your feet from opposite ends, and then I will crucify you on the palms, and you will surely know which of us is more severe in giving punishment and more enduring. Okay. And another place, قال فرعون آمنتم به قبل أن آذن لكم. You believed in him before I gave you permission. Indeed, this is a conspiracy. You conspired in the city to expel from it its people. So again, look how he's framing things. Okay, you are the bad guys. You are doing this conspiracy. All right. and you are doing it and try to get people out of, to try to expel people from their homes. Okay, you are the tyrants, right? You are the villains, right? We are the heroes. Again, من الظلمات إلى النور, from nur to ظلمات, or from ظلمات into nur. Okay, فسوف تعلمون, he said, but you will know, right? That's him threatening him. So, a very dangerous thing. Okay, the Taghut argues, and that's the most dangerous thing about the Taghut, is that it has an argument. Okay, it will make the evil seem good and the good seem evil, which is the Dalal Ba'id, as we said, and why Shaitan wants and encourages the seeking the judgment of the Taghut. As we saw in Surah An-Nisa, verse 60 last week. So there's more of that from Fir'aun. Look at Fir'aun, for example, here. Ya Qawmi, Ya Qawmi, lakumul mulk, or this is the so this is the altercation between the believer from the family of Fir'aun and Fir'aun. Okay, so the believer says, "Oh my people," okay, the one who believes said, "Oh my people, indeed I fear for you like the day of companies." All right, where is the rest of that? The translation isn't there. All right, so I'll translate it myself. He says, "Oh my people." This is, I think, it's from the formatting. All right, I was trying to fix that up, but I didn't have time. So he says, "Oh my people, for you is the mulk, is the kingdom today. Zahirina, you have it all. Okay, Zahirina fil ard. Okay, you are in possession of everything on earth. So you are at the top. You're on the top. فَمَنْ يَنْصُرُنَا مِنْ بَأْسِ اللَّهِ إِنْ جَاءَنَا. So who will protect us from the punishment of God if it comes? What does Fir'aun say? قال فرعون ما أريكم إلا ما أرى. I'm only showing you what I know. Okay, I'm showing you what I can see. ما أريكم إلا ما أرى. Okay, you don't see, but I see. Okay, ما أريكم إلا ما أرى. I'm only showing you what I see. وما أهديكم إلا سبيل الرشاد. And I'm only guiding you to the way of righteousness, to the guidance. So Fir'aun here, again, the argument, like you said, the dangerous thing about the Taghut, you say, I'm guiding you to the way of God. I'm showing you the way of guidance. Okay, in our language, in Islam now, it's basically like this sort of thing, right? Somebody, the Taghut, will say, I'm only showing you the way of the Salaf. I'm only showing you the way of right guidance. Okay, I'm guiding you to the way of the Salaf, to the way of the righteous predecessors. This is the way. I'm showing you what you don't see. Okay, you don't see it. Trust me. I'm showing you this is what it is. You don't understand it. Trust those before us. Trust the Salaf. Trust the scholars. Trust this. Trust. And we are showing you the way of the Rashad, even though this is a Taghut, right? And again, وقال فرعون ذروني أقتل موسى. And again, this is again freedom of religion. All right, this is let's kill him. Fir'aun said, "Let me kill Musa. وَلْيَدْعُ رَبَّهُ, and let him call his Lord. إِنِّي أَخَافُ أَنْ يُبَدِّلَ دِينَكُمْ. I am afraid that he's going to change your religion." So again, I'm afraid he's going to change religion, right? I don't want him to change the religion, all right? And I'm afraid of that. It's I'm concerned for you people. I'm afraid that he will change the religion. أو أن يظهر في الأرض الفساد, or that he, Musa, is going to spread, to cause to appear on the earth fasad. Okay, as if there's no fasad, and Musa's own is going to make it appear. Even though, of course, Fir'aun is up to his neck in fasad, right? So again, the argument, right? He's making it out that he is the good guy, and the good guy is the bad guy. He is the hero, Musa is the villain. Okay, the argument of thing. And again, with us, it's like this, right? We must kill the mubtada. The mubtada, those who do bid'ah, who change the deen, we must kill them. This is very ramped in the Maliki madhab. The Maliki madhab is probably the worst madhab when it comes to wanting to have not even apostates, just people who who they consider bid'ah, doing bid'ah, to be killed or to be imprisoned or to be lashed or whipped or etc. The Maliki madhab is terrible of that. So yeah, and in this one we must kill apostates, or they will make fasad, right? We make fasad. You can't let that. That's why we must kill apostates. They will make fasad. They will make other people doubt the religion, etc. Okay, so we have that same Taghut speaking in our language. Okay, and you can find it right there. And again, another verse, وَنَادَى فِرْعَوْنَ. So again, look at the arguments. وَنَادَى, and Fir'aun called out to his people. يَا قَوْمِ أَلَيْسَ لِي مُلْكَ مِصْرَ. Look at me, O people, my people. How can you doubt me? Look, I have the kingdom of Misr. I have the kingdom of Egypt, the richest kingdom at the time. وهذه الأنهار تجري من تحتها. Look at these rivers flowing beneath me, my palace. Can you doubt that God favors me? أفلا تبصرون? Can't you see? Don't you see? Okay, and we have the same idea with us. Look at the Muslim Empire. Look how much we conquered. We took from here to here. Look at the map. We ruled from this side to this side when we were following Deen properly. Now, the only reason why we are not ruling the whole world is because people stopped following what the Deen properly. What they think is the Deen. Okay, look how God has blessed us with these rivers of oil. Right, we are blessed, and that's how there are people like that, right? Who think that way. There are people in the Middle East who think that way. They think that the oil that's there, it's a sign of favor from God, right? Because it came at the same time as the Wahhabi movement and stuff, then it was discovered, so that was a blessing from God. No. Fir'aun had before you a lot more. Okay. And again, أَمَنَ خَيْرٌ مِنْ هَذَا الَّذِي هُوَ مُهِينٌ وَلَا يَكَادُ يُبِينُ. Or am I not better than this one who is insignificant and hardly makes himself clear? So again, belittling others. Look at the argument. Again, this is what's dangerous about the Taghut and why you must stay away from the Taghut. اجتنبوا الطاغوت. Okay? Because if you don't, you can fall into ibadat to them. Okay? الذين اجتنبوا الطاغوت أن يعبدوها. Those who keep away from the Taghut, lest they fall into ibadah to it. Okay, and again, we have this with us, right? Aren't we better than the lowly, disgusting Westerners or West? Okay, or aren't we better than the filthy sects X, Y, and Z? Okay, are we not better? Okay, and here, فلولا ألقي عليه أسورة من ذهب أو جاء معه الملائكة مقترنين. All right, then why have there not been placed upon him, bracelets of gold, or come with him angels, to help him out? Right, and again, we can find these parallels with us, right? How come God hasn't blessed them with wealth and gold and oil, right? How come they don't have that? Look at their sorry state. Okay, why don't any karamat happen to them? If you know the word karamat, is basically the like miracles and good dreams and stuff, and you have that, right? Each of the sects say that. They will say, each sect will say the other sect cannot have true dreams, cannot have any sort of their prayers answered, cannot have miracles happen to them, cannot have this or that or the other, right? They say this only happens to us. They don't have it. Okay, we have it. They don't. Okay. So here's the final thing in that, because these last few were all in the same surah, and the last thing here says فَاسْتَخَفَّ قَوْمَهُ فَأَطَاعُوا. Okay, so he bluffed his people, or he belittled them, and that's what the Taghut does. Okay, the Taghut يستخفك. Okay, he sort of he takes you slowly, خفيف. Okay, in stages. فَاسْتَخَفَّ قَوْمَهُ فَأَطَاعُوا. So they obeyed him. They obeyed the Taghut. They followed him. Right? إنهم كانوا قوما فاسقين. Okay, they were people who were فاسقين. All right, okay. So that's basically the end of what I wanted to say. But this is very important, I think, to just remember this. The Taghut argues, and they have an argument, and it's very important that you keep away from the Taghut. If you don't, unless you're a Musa, right? You have to be a Musa to be able to stand up against the Taghut. Okay. All right, so I hope that wasn't I wasn't speaking to myself that whole time. I wasn't, was I? Can somebody let me know? Okay, let me see. Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, but Musa having the problem of speech, etc. inside the palace. All right. Yes. Okay, yeah, that's basically the end of what I wanted to say. It was much longer than well, I wanted to finish it, to be honest. I knew it was going to be long, but I think I did pretty well. 40 minutes or something. All right, good. Yeah, I wasn't speaking to myself. All right, okay. So let me see if there's anything. I'm not going to be able to look in all of that chat. It looks like there was a nice conversation happening between Lady Adriana here and others. So I've got somebody waiting backstage. Let's listen to him. Sam, assalamu alaikum.
Salam. How are you doing?
I'm good. How have you been?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Good. Good. Yeah.
Excellent to have you again.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted, in your one of your previous uh, chats, you said something about the second coming of Jesus, and I
Hmm.
think something. What's his name? Mufti Abu Layth. He said, he believes, there's no second coming of Jesus,
Yeah.
and the thing is, when you read the gospel, yeah, in there, Jesus himself says, yeah, he'll be returning because he's the Messiah.
Mm.
So I can understand if you don't accept the gospel, then yeah, you're gonna say, yeah, in the Quran, yeah, it's not very clear, it's ambiguous.
Mm.
But if you accept the gospels, then it's clear Jesus is gonna come back, his second coming. So my sort of my sort of thoughts on this are, yeah, that as Muslims, you have to accept the previous scriptures because that's what it says in the Quran. And because many people don't accept the previous scriptures because they believe it's corrupted, or I don't know, maybe, or they haven't got the original, whatever, then it's going to be hard to understand some of the things that are in the Quran. So, and plus in the
Mm.
Quran it says, yeah, you have to accept the previous scriptures because if you're
Yeah.
not, if you don't, you're just like a non-believer.
Mm.
So I'm just for me, and now I've read the Old Testament, I read the Gospels, and some of the New Testament, it's clear to me. Yeah, there's nothing. Um, it's perfectly fine to believe in the read the Old Scripture and believe in them,
Mm.
and it makes the Quran makes more sense, and religion as a whole it makes more sense because there's some things you can pick up from the Gospel and the Old Testament that makes a lot
Mm.
of sense in terms of what the Jews do, the Christians do, how the world is.
Yeah.
So I just wanted your thoughts on that.
Well, for me personally, because personally, I haven't actually read the Gospels or the thing, so I don't know about if they say that Jesus is coming or not coming. So I haven't read them, so I'm not even sure if what they say on that. Is it completely clear that Jesus says, "I will return"? I don't know, at the end of time and before the Prophet Muhammad or not, etc. I haven't seen that. I mean, so I haven't read that. But in terms of I know people argue about it, argue about a lot of what's supposedly Jesus said or not. But for example, I mean, there's the whole issue of in the Quran it says that Jesus said that there's a messenger coming after me. His name is Ahmed, right? That's not in the Bible, is it? As far as I know. I mean, of course, I know the arguments that say it is what's the Paracletos and these things, and I find them to be
Well, I
strong
think
arguments and stuff.
yeah,
But
yeah, I think you said some comforter is going to come. I don't know if that translates to messenger, but
yeah,
it's
Paracletos. I mean, Adnan Ibrahim. He's on my channel. I've got a few videos translated about him. He relates the story of one of the I forget what his name, one of the intellectuals of the not the previous generation, but the older generation. I forget his name, but he spoke to one of the leading Greek, New Testament Greek scholar, right? And they were friends. This guy, this Arabic adib, really. He wasn't a scholar. He was just an Arab literary man. Okay, so he wrote novels and things like this, and he's just a man of letters. And he was a friend. He was friends with this Greek guy, Greek expert in New Testament Greek. So he asked him, "What does this word mean? What's translated in the things in Wazi, the Paracletus? What does it mean?" And the man immediately replied, "It means the comforter." Okay, it means this because he knew that the man was asking, that he was asking, trying to see if it means Ahmed. And so the Arab guy goes, "Look, I'm not asking um, and then he mentions his name. I'm not asking X, the fanatic for his deen. I'm asking X, who is the master of the language. So he's basically making him embarrassed that he's not being completely impartial and intellectual. So then the Arab guy goes, then his face turned red, and he felt embarrassed, and he said, "Look, this parakletos, or whatever it is, it means in directly translated into Arabic, it is the format of af'al in hamd, af'al in hamd. So basically Ahmed. Okay, but he says that the Arab guy says he would not say Ahmed, he would put it in this way. So I don't know if that's true or not. Okay, but look, when it comes to this sort of issue, let's say, okay, let's say he's going to come back. Okay, if he comes back, we'll be there for that, right? I think it'll be pretty clear, right? And if he doesn't come back, I mean, for the most part, we're probably going to die before it happens, right? I mean, accepting it or not accepting it, it's not going to change. It doesn't change anything. It's not a major thing. It's not something
That's
where
true.
we have to believe. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to have to believe in the specifics of the previous scriptures. One, for example, actually, I was just thinking while you were saying that, because I'm currently writing something very detailed, and I'm trying to navigate it, and it's pretty difficult. But I'm discussing the qira'at, the readings. So we have one of the readings. There are two. Most of the qira'at of the Quran, each of the verses in the end is saying the same thing. Even if you say, okay, this verse, this word in this qira'ah means this, and this word, and in another qira'ah it's a different word, the verse as a whole is saying the same thing. It's teaching the same thing. Okay, because for those who don't know, I don't accept the different qira'at. I think that the Prophet only taught the Quran in one way. And all of the different, the 14 different readings of the Quran, or the 20 different qira'at, okay, all of that are divergence from whatever the Prophet actually recited. He recited in one way only. It was revealed to him in one way only, and he taught it in one way only, right? But anyway, so one of the differences in the qira'at is in the story of Lut, okay, and whether Lut took his family with him, took his wife with him or not. Did he leave her behind in the city and she perished there, or did he take her with him, and then she looked around and she perished because of that? Now the Bible says the latter, okay, that she went with them and then she turned around and she was turned to a pillar of salt. Okay, that's the biblical thing, right? I'm 100% convinced that no, she was left behind. Okay, now I'm writing something about that. I'll probably post it. It was supposed to start off as a Twitter thread, but it just became into sort of like a monster kind of writing, because so many other things got involved into it, and I had to. So I'm going to put it as a post on Reddit, probably, if the word count allows it. If not, I'll chop it up into pieces, and I'll try to adapt it into a series of Twitter threads about it. But I'm completely convinced that no, she wasn't taken out with him. And the exception, because this is the difference in the two readings. In one of the qira'at, the exception is that he was told to take his wife, to take his family out of the city except his wife. And in the other qira'ah, because of the difference in the fatha and the dhamma, it's saying that he was told that nobody would turn around except his wife. She would be he was supposed to take his family with him, but nobody would turn around except his wife. In the other qira'ah, he was told to take his family except his wife. So it's pretty much an irreconcilable contradiction between the qira'at. Okay, and someone has suggested that the qira'ah, the reading, which says that basically the exception was about her turning around, was influenced by the Bible. Was influenced by the Bible. That qira'ah became that way because the biblical story. Okay, but like I said, I'm completely 100% convinced that no, she didn't. She wasn't taken out with him, and I think I've written I'm in the process of writing a pretty strong argument for that. So I mean, that's an example where I would look at the Bible and I'd say no, it's wrong. I can't accept that. And there are others, of course. I mean, we all know about many things in the Bible which we would not accept, right?
Yeah.
So,
Is
you
it-
know,
so yeah, this
the-
I understand where you're coming from.
Hmm.
That there's things in the Bible, yeah, that maybe are wrong or they're not correct, or there's things that don't make sense. I understand that.
So
But
why
thing-
can't that Jesus is coming back be one of them?
because Jesus said clearly in the Gospel that he's going to come back, he's the Messiah.
Yeah, but it says clearly in the Old Testament that Lot's wife was turned to a pillar of salt for looking back. Okay, and it says clearly that
Yeah.
Suleiman did black magic. You know, Quran says وما كفر سليمان ولكن الذين ولكن الشياطين كفروا والشياطين كفروا يعلمون الناس السحر. Right? And it says clearly a lot of things in the Bible which we do reject, right? So I mean, this can be one of them. It doesn't have to be. I don't see why it has to
It
be
could be,
excluded.
but the thing is, Jesus said it many times, so I wouldn't, I'd be inclined to believe that, because if it's like one time, yeah, then yeah, so maybe.
Really, well, like I said, I mean, I'm not on firm ground here because I haven't read them. You know, I've read
See,
them.
so
So
my
so
point
again, okay, go
is
ahead. Sorry.
is the Quran clearly says many times, as Muslim, we have to believe in the previous scriptures. So that's my point. Is
Yeah. I have faith in.
you-
I believe in
because-
the previous scriptures as well, but it doesn't mean it's not the same as I don't think it's the same as accepting that. And the other thing is, of course, the problem with the previous scriptures is a lot of them are, what are they saying in a lot of cases, right? The translations from here and from there. I mean, at least the Quran all came out at one time, right? So the language of that time, and languages change so from region to region, from century to century. It's not, that's what I worry about the most when trying to read anything of the previous scriptures and trying to get exactly what is being said. And so,
Yeah, that's fine.
but in terms of faith in the previous scriptures, how do I personally have faith in the previous scriptures? I have faith in them that they were divinely revealed. I mean, I have faith in them, and that if those before, if they followed the scripture, they would be guided. Okay, it's about the iman of having iman in the guidance in them, in the zikr in them. Not about the details and stuff like that, So I have iman in for example, what was taught in the Sermon of the Mount, right? That I've read. I have iman in the Lord's Prayer. Okay, I have iman in the guidance that's there in the previous scriptures. I fully have iman in it. But in terms of the details of history and this and that, because that's what a lot of the things are. Prophecies for the future. It's not something really you have to have iman for it. It's something you wait for, right? You don't have to really believe that this will happen or that will happen. It's not something. It's not an issue of iman. It's an issue of waiting.
All right.
That's basically how I would see it. It's not a huge concern with me. But in terms of like analyzing Quran, I think it's pretty from the Quran perspective. I mean, I don't see how Isa would be coming back when reading the end of Surah Al-Ma'idah, right? The end of Surah Al-Ma'idah, that whole back and forth conversation between, not back and forth, but God's questioning Isa and his answers. I think they make it very clear that if you look at that situation, it doesn't seem like he's coming back.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would disagree with that, because it doesn't really clearly say, he's not going to be coming back. I mean, God just asking him.
Well, he says, فَلَمَّا تَوَفَّيْتَنِي كُنْتَ أَنْتَ رَقِيبَ عَلَيْهِمْ, right? He says, he's just telling his life story almost, right? He says, God says, did you tell people to worship me and to worship you, to take, sorry, not even worship, to take you and your mother as gods besides me? He says, Subhanak, glory to you. I didn't say, I only said what you told me to tell them, that they should worship you, to worship Allah, your Lord and my Lord. And I was witness upon them while I was with them. فَلَمَّا تَوَفَّيْتَنِي, and then when you tawaffaytani, which is what the whole argument is about what does tawaffa mean? That he lifted him up or what? But he says, فَلَمَّا تَوَفَّيْتَنِي, then when you توفيتني, كنت أنت الرقيب عليهم. It was you who was watching them. After that, I wasn't watching them anymore. I didn't see anything, after that, that's it. My interaction with them was done. It's over. After that, now it's you who's watching them. وأنت على كل شيء شهيد. Right, you are a witness of everything. If he had come back, okay, and this is all being said in Judgment Day. If he had come back, he would have said, I was watching them, okay, فَلَمَّا تَوَفَّيْتَنِي كُنْتَ أَنْتَ رَقِيبٌ عَلَيَّ, you were watching them. And then when you sent me back again, right, I said to them, again, do not worship you, take my mother. And I fought this and I killed the pigs and all of this.
Yeah, no, I don't believe that he's part, where he's going to come back and kill the pig and.
Well, the point is, in whatever capacity he comes back in, that's not mentioned. That narrative at the end of Surah
that's not mentioned.
That narrative at the end of Surah Al-Ma'idah is literally Isa giving his defense. He's being questioned. Imagine he's being questioned by God, right? There's a sense of fear there, right? He's being questioned. Did you say it? Did you tell him this? You could say he's quaking. No, oh my God, no, it wasn't. It wasn't me. I didn't do that. Okay, and so he says what he did. I said this, and then when you took me away, you know best what happened. I don't know. My interaction with them was done then.
Yeah, but right? I think that's referring to the people. Yeah, when Jesus came down, they didn't believe in him, and well, when Jesus was born, he preached, and then he was taken up, and then then people after him.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about, exactly.
But then when Jesus come back,
that's what I'm saying. I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is that the alteration, okay, it leaves not even a hint that he came back. Okay,
I agree.
So he's saying that فلما توفيت after you فلما توفيتني كنت أنت رقيب عليهم. When you توفيت me, when you raised me up, even if you say he raised him up, okay, even if I could accept that yes, Jesus was raised up alive, okay, maybe, okay, فلما توفيتني, but that was it. After that كنت أنت رقيب عليهم. After that was you who was with them. I had nothing more to do with them. That's what the altercation says. So that's how I see it. I mean, but like I said, I mean, it's not a big issue for me. It's not. I don't believe these are things we need to have iman in. I mean, I have iman. I believe in these verses that these will happen on Qiyamah, that this interaction will take place. Okay, but because that's sort of like something in the future, right? Right. So we have iman in the verses and how they say. Okay, and we're waiting for them, waiting to see them play out. If Isa is going to come back, it's something we're waiting for. It's not something I have to have iman in. Okay, you don't have to have iman in things which have not really happened yet, I think.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. I mean, it's not something that it's gonna change anything. It's just it's just what Jesus prophesied. But the bigger thing is, it's like understanding the whole religion of God. It's like you got some Quran Muslims, they don't believe in the Salat. I mean, I pray Salat like the Mosques, like the Sunnis do, but then some Quran Muslims, they don't believe in that kind of ritual thing. But with Jesus, he did pray, in a certain way, in a sort of a physical way.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the other prophets did as well before him. So if you read the Old Testament and the Gospels, then you kind of understand that prayer is not just kind of it's not like it's kind of ritual thing.
Well, I mean, what I agree with that definitely. I mean, the details are not really, again, that even the details of ritual or not, it's not really the big issue. But what you said there is, of course, I mean, God says it to the Prophet Muhammad. In kunta fi shakkin mimma anzalna ilayk, right? You're talking about the relationship of the whole deen, right? Understanding the whole deen, right? Even God said that, revealed that to the Prophet, said, if you're in doubt of what we reveal to you, فَاسْأَلَ الَّذِينَ يَتْلُونَ الْكِتَابَ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ, right? Ask those who who received the scripture before. Ask those who have the dhikr before you. Ask those who have, so he was told, go ask them. Go ask those who have the previous scriptures. Okay. But it's always about the dhikr. Okay. And this is something I think we did talk about that in one stream. The idea of, we're talking about the dhikr. Okay. And then you're talking about the kitab or the Quran or these things. Okay. The dhikr is the eternal message of which is across all of the scriptures. Okay. Which is why, inna nazzalna dhikra wa inna lahu lahafizun. We have sent down the dhikr and we preserve it. Okay. It's not the Quran that's being preserved, it's the dhikr. Okay. And why the Prophet is being told to ask the previous people, those who have the previous scripture about the dhikr, to see, and you will see that it matches. Okay. That there's nothing new. Okay. Ma kuntu bid'an min ar-rusul. I'm not an innovator among the messengers, right? What was taught before is being taught now, right? The 10 Commandments, that's dhikr, right? You can believe that, take that, look at that dhikr in the previous scriptures, and be fully on board with that, right? So it's you have to look at it in that kind of way. It's about a more holistic idea, right? More holistic idea about what God has been revealing. Yeah, what God has been revealing from the beginning. Okay, and we have that sort of anthology even in the Quran. All right, I mean, look at some surahs where they just they talk about one prophet and then another prophet, and to those people we sent him, and then that story is given, and then afterwards directly into those people them. ولا مجن أخاهم فين ولا ثمود أخاهم صالح ولا مجن أخاهم شعيب ولا So we are given this anthology of what was the key, the kernel of what was sent before, and in that is what we have to have iman. Okay, the dhikr, the previous dhikr, which is similar to our dhikr. Because the issue is, why must we have iman in the previous scriptures? Why? Because they confirm what we have in ours, right? They confirm what we have in ours. If we're going to accept the dhikr we have, okay, and reject the dhikr others have, we are not really accepting the dhikr, right? We're accepting it out of something else, which is why, for example, the Ahl al-Kitab, when they rejected the dhikr that was sent down to Muhammad, even though it was a sin that they had, that really meant that they are rejecting the dhikr that they have, because it's the same, okay? It means that they're accepting the dhikr they have, not because of the dhikr, they're accepting it because it is theirs, because of their racism, because it's of the Jews, okay? Not because it's dhikr, right? Because if the dhikr they had, they are accepting it, they are following it because it is from God, then they would follow that same dhikr which has come down to Muhammad, because it's also from God. Okay, that's why really it's about it's about following the common denominator, all right? Accepting the common denominator, right? Because if your common denominator is same as somebody else, if you reject theirs, you're rejecting yours.
Yeah, thing is with that is, I think that's more about the kind of human behavior. It's like if the Muslims, another prophet came with a message, I'm pretty sure 99% of Muslims reject it.
Yeah, of course, because what would we reject? We'd reject probably that this person is a messenger, okay?
Yeah.
But just like the Prophet was told himself, he was told himself, if you doubt what we have sent to you, ask those who came before you. Yeah, check what we have sent according to those before you. Is it the same dhikr? Okay, so then don't doubt. لَقَدْ جَاءَكَ مِنْ فِي هَذَا الْحَقِّ. That has come to you, and this is the truth, and you can check it, right? So let's say another messenger comes now, okay? This messenger himself, let him check what he thinks he has as a dhikr from what compared to what we have, okay? If that dhikr matches, we can accept the dhikr, okay?
Well,
that doesn't mean we have to accept that he's a messenger, okay? Because part of that.
I'm saying the Muslim will never accept it, because they will be the same. Let's say another prophet came with a message, they would never accept it, because they would
accept what, the message or the prophet?
Yeah, both. Either of them.
No, I mean, I would accept the message
because it's like with
and they would accept the message as well. They would
with
accept
the
the
Christian
message.
Jews. Yeah, why don't the Christians or Jews accept the Prophet Muhammad?
They don't accept him because, well, why didn't they accept him? Because they think that there's no messenger would be sent from the Arabs, no prophet would come from the Arabs. As
No.
far as I know, that's the chief reason.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know much don't know many Christians, but I think they don't. It's just because each people, yeah, they get stuck with their own religion. This is the truth, yeah. This is all we got to follow, and that's it. They cling to it. It's like the Christians accept the Old Testament and the Gospels, and they'll say the Gospels overrides the Old Testament, even though it doesn't. But then they won't accept the Quran, and the Jews they'll only accept the Old Testament, and they won't accept the Gospels or the Quran. It's just because people.
Again, but look, we're talking about. I mean, that's what I'm saying. We need to move a bit of a higher idea than rather than just we're accepting this book or not accepting this book. I'm talking about what the teachings are, right? So what the Muslims teach in the Quran, the Jews do accept. Okay, they accept that. Okay, they just don't accept that this was revelation to Muhammad, but they accept, that halal, for example, they will eat our halal meat, right? They accept the halal slaughtering. That's accepted to them, right? They accept the tawheed that's been mentioned in the Quran. They accept that nubuwah, that there will be nubuwah. They accept akhirah, that there will be an afterlife and judgment. They accept, all of the laws pretty much which are in the Quran, right? The dhikr which is given in the Quran. They accept it for the most part. Right, so it's not about okay, they reject the Quran but accept its message. Is that really rejecting the Quran? Okay, in that kind of way, So I'm talking about accepting the dhikr. Okay, not exactly the book itself, the dhikr, and that's what we're being mentioned.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, but the thing is, if it's very similar, yeah, then they should accept it as holy. And so I'm saying they should accept it as holy, but they don't. I'm saying the reason they don't, yeah, because they may say, yeah, we agree with the hereafter, the concept of the hereafter, and the other concept in Islam, but they don't really believe it to be holy.
Yeah, that's about lack of iman in a messenger, right?
No, well, I think it's more about it's just the hearts. I'm saying the Jews' hearts. They won't accept it because just like how they are. And same with the Muslim, if another message or prophet came, they wouldn't accept it because they'd be so stuck with understanding, believing in their only the Quran.
Well, I mean, they're just. I mean, that we'd have to be very suspicious of that because we know that Muhammad, according to the Quran, is the last messenger, right? That wasn't said about any previous prophet in their scriptures. Jesus never said he's the last prophet or last messenger. Okay, Musa didn't, Dawood didn't, nobody else ever said it. I mean, it's one of the things which is quite amazing if you think about it. That no messenger or prophet before Muhammad ever said, "I'm the last messenger or prophet," whether he was false or true. I don't think there's ever been a false prophet who said, "I'm the last messenger or last prophet."
Well, as far as there's only one verse in the Quran that says, that prophet is a seal of the messengers. That's it. And
the Khatam al-Nabiyyin, yeah. So yes, I mean, we wouldn't accept that that another would be would be given nubuwah. Okay. Now, does that mean that God would not speak to a bashar, to a human being again? No, I don't. That's something which needs investigation, by the way, in the Quran.
Yeah.
But God does mention in the Quran that that he's the ways that he speaks to people, right? يرسل رسولا فيوحي ما يشاء. He sends a messenger so that a messenger will send wahi, or we speak to him from behind the veil, right? They're mentioned, right? It's not necessary that somebody who receives wahi or inspiration that they are a prophet. That doesn't have to be the case, right? The Hawariyun, okay, received wahi. With أوحيت الحواريون أن آمنوا به وبرسوله. When I sent wahi to the Hawariyun, to the disciples of Jesus, that believe in me, have faith in me, and in my messenger. They weren't prophets. Okay, that's about when prophets. So let's say in the future, sometimes somebody receives wahi from God, right? We can check what is being sent to this, and we can accept that I could accept that somebody's received wahi, but I wouldn't accept that he was a prophet or a nabi, right? But I could look at what he's received, and it's clear. I mean, almost the same way as like I analyze hadiths and stuff, narrations. I look at them and I see, is it clear from the dhikr? Is it clearly from the dhikr of Allah? Does it match the Quran? Otherwise, no, I'll throw it away. Why should I accept it?
Yeah. So my sort of position in this year is that God's given kind of a revelation to each kind of people. So Jews got their Old Testament, yeah, and they meant to follow that. The Christians, yeah, they got the Gospel, they meant to follow that.
Yeah,
And Muslims got the Quran, and we meant to follow that. So that's
yeah,
fine. So even if another book came, it would be for different people. Only it'd be fine.
yeah,
You can have
yeah,
all three books or whatever, all four books being followed.
yeah.
But
That's
I'm
true.
just saying that each group here, I think they become kind of envious or kind of like protective over their own kind of ways of following their religion, and that's why they don't accept other religions. Just a
Well, I
human
mean, look,
behavior.
okay, it says, فاستبقوا الخيرات, you're mentioning sort of paraphrasing that verse. لكل جعلنا منكم شرعة ومنهاجا. To each of you we've given a sharia and a way, right? ولو شاء الله لجعلكم أمة واحدة. And if God had willed, He would have made you all one people, فاستبقوا الخيرات. So, race each other in goodness. That's the key, right? You race each other in goodness.
Yeah.
Race towards goodness. So, if somebody, somewhere down the line says that he's received wahi and he gets a following and, he's teaching goodness and things, okay, yeah, they can race to goodness as well. That doesn't mean we must accept, like I said, Muhammad is the seal of the prophets. And you can't be a messenger without, I know that some flip it the other way around, but you can't be a messenger without being a prophet. Okay?
I think
A messenger is just a prophet who is sent to a people, right?
so. I think there's a problem with the way the Muslim do dawah. They expect the Christian and the Jews here to abandon the Old Testament, the Old Gospel, and start following the Quran. This is how I've seen most.
Yeah, of course.
And I think that's wrong.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we're in our own little world and niche over here, right? We think everybody's wrong. But yeah, of course, we know that. I think most people who view this channel or who are on the chat now, who will watch it later, we know this, and yeah, that shouldn't be the case. I mean, you can tell a Jew or Christian to just continue. You call them towards goodness. You call them towards, to establish that. This is why actually I think it is true in the Quran. It's haram. It's forbidden to speak or argue with Ahlul Kitab except by what is best. Which is why I don't like, even though Ahmed Didat was very charming in the way he did it, right? The way he used to interact with the Christians and stuff, and it was funny, and it was like a grandpa guy sort of doing things, but it was the way it's done. It's pretty much almost, I would say it's almost haram, right?
I agree.
You don't argue with the Ahlul Kitab in that way, right? Of course, we've sort of all been there. I mean, I never used to get into arguments a lot anyway, but I used to read and follow some of these things every once in a while. And you'd imagine yourself meeting a Christian, what you'd say to them, what they would say to you, etc., all of that kind of stuff. And you go into these elaborate arguments and these kind of things. But in the end, you find that when you step away from that, you don't need that. I mean, the Quran, for example, the Quran, argue by what is by what is ahsan. It says, لا تجادلوا أهل الكتاب إلا بالتي هي أحسن. Do not. It's forbidden. Do not debate with Ahlul Kitab except by what is best, by what is most beautiful. بالتي هي أحسن. Okay. And that's it. A few of the simple arguments in the Quran, you mention them, and that's it. Don't go into these long things. Look in your book; it says here, this is here. If Jesus is God, then He's God of the Old Testament, and He ordered this. There's no need for all of that, right?
Yeah.
Quran says, a simple thing. كانوا كان يأكلان الطعام. About Jesus and Maryam, they used to eat food. That's it. That's the argument. Finished. Right? You don't need to seek out all the bad things they have or this or that. So he says, انظر كيف نبين لهم الآيات. Look how we make clear the signs to them. ثم انظر أنا يؤفكون. Then see how they are turned away. Okay, but that tibyan of the Quran is enough. That tibyan of the Quran is enough. That Jesus and Maryam, they used to eat food. Okay, and you can leave the rest. You don't even have to say that means they need to go to the toilet or any of that. Just say they used to eat food. That's it. And no need for these elaborate arguments and stuff. Even the Prophet, when told if any of them argue about that, then tell them, come, bring your families. You bring your women, and now we bring our women. You bring your sons, we bring our sons, and we'll make a call to God that He put the curse on the liars. There's no need to get into extensive debate. He was not told to get into extensive debate with them, right? But put them to the spot. Let them go all the way to see. So this was the reason why that challenge was made, is to stop what's mentioned in that verse, and see how we make the verses clear to them. Then look how they turn away, how they sort of like try to invent lies and stuff, and try to say you make all the elaborate. Why would God eat food? This is why. All these arguments. Okay, these arguments you're just deluding yourself with them. We'll put that to the test. Come here. Let's actually. This is the person who in front of you might well be a prophet of God. You bring yourself and your families, and let all of you mutually curse whoever is the liar. And they of course backed down, which showed that all of those arguments that they had against the simple argument of Jesus and Maryam used to eat food, all these other arguments they had, they weren't serious about them. Okay, this was just self-delusion. All right, and there's no point in arguing with the self-deluded. All right, you make something clear, and you back away, let them think about it.
I agree. I totally agree.
Anyway,
all I want to say, I think everyone, in my opinion, they should read the Old Testament Gospels, because it takes a while to understand it, but there's something in there, that they make a lot of sense in terms of the whole religion. And
no, I'm sure they do. I mean, if I had, the problem is you never finish with the Quran, right? If I had, I mean, if whatever happened that you think, okay, I think I've read enough of the Quran, I know it, I know everything I need to know about it, then let's I'll try to learn more about the Bible. But there's no need for me. I have iman in it in that general way, in the previous scriptures, and that's good enough. That's good enough for me. I don't, it's not going to increase me in guidance. All right, and not knowing it is not going to be taking me away from His guidance.
I agree.
Even half the Quran, right? I've mentioned this before. You don't even need the whole Quran to be guided. One surah, 2 surahs, 3, enough.
I think Surah Al-Baqarah covers the most of it. So but I would just say in terms of knowledge, even more knowledge about history and that, then it's in there. But in terms of guidance,
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I mean, if I'm going to be starting, I mean, I read into when I can to analyze, the history and the hadiths and stuff, because I want to see what happened to this ummah, right? How the ummah, went away from the Quran. Okay, so in reading things, I spend more time reading that in terms of that history, the early history of the previous peoples. It's enough for me to know that. They have a dhikr, and that's if I interact with people from those, I can point to some simple things, simple arguments in the Quran, and recommend for them to establish what was revealed to them from their Lord, and that's it. Enjoin them towards what is good and bad. Cooperate in birr and taqwa, as the Quran says, and that's more than enough. I don't need. I don't find a need really to read deeply into the Bible and stuff. I like, there's I made a Twitter thread. You know how we were speaking about this on the stream a while ago, weren't we? About Jordan Peterson, right? When he spoke with And I made a video, didn't I? I forgot. Yeah, I made a video and I attached a Twitter thread to it. So Jordan Peterson, he spoke of one of these modern, more secular Muslims. Very good guy, from what I've seen of him. So I made a thread about that. It was all about Jesus's position in Islam, because Jordan Peterson has this very esoteric mythology archetype thing about idea about Jesus, the locus, and all the rest of it. So when I watched that podcast episode between him and that Muslim guy, they were mentioning it a lot, but I felt that the Muslim guy missed a key thing which he could have spoken about in terms of Jesus being in Islam, his image in Islam and his position. So I mentioned that in the thread, and I put it together and talked about how in Islam, and traditionally, because traditionally Islam was very Sufi orientated, and so in that sort of idea, Jesus was like the perfect like Sufi, like he embodied sort of beauty, divine beauty, and in that way, in Jordan Peterson's sort of like ideas, chaos, right, divine beauty and chaos and that kind of stuff. So I made a thread about that, but what I put into that was something which I think it was Imam Ghazali was the one who brought them together. And people are still debating, where did Imam Ghazali get these stories of Jesus from? But Imam Ghazali has a bunch of stories of Jesus, a lot of them, okay, which depict him as this kind of like wandering Sufi mystic person who is, a zahid in the world, right? So I attached a lot of like screenshots of those stories, and I like those stories a lot as well. I mean, I used to benefit from them a lot as well. So even those stories I've read. I mean, I haven't read. I think I've read those, and I've read a few of the key things in the Bible. The Sermon on the Mount, of course. Some of the parables. Maybe I should get around to actually reading the New Testament Gospels. Maybe I'll try and get around to reading those one time.
Was you say New Testament? Yeah. Was it?
I mean the Gospels, the first. What are they called? The first. What are they called? What's the name given to them? The first books together. Mark, John, Luke, Matthew. Those ones. What are they called together? The synoptic Gospels or something.
I think something like that. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. So I'd like to read those, or read one of those red ink Bibles that they say, right? Where it's just they've got just the words of Jesus. I wouldn't mind reading those.
I accept them, but the other books, in the New Testament, they're more like people who came after Jesus. They wrote it, and I don't believe them to be divine. But the Gospels, in there, I believe it's got.
By the way, I should mention to anybody listening, you might be interested in this as well. The Muslim Khalil Adnani. He's an Ismaili Harvard intellectual, right? So might not be up anybody, but he's a gentleman, and I know I see him a lot on Twitter, and I've interacted with him a lot as well. But he has, we've spoken a lot about, tweeted a lot about the ideas of dhikr and kitab, what do they mean in the Quran, and also about when it comes to Injil. So he's recently had, there's a very good YouTube channel called Blogging Theology, where it's this guy called Paul Williams, okay, convert in London, and he does a lot of really good interviews of people. It's a very good channel, and he had him on to speak about Injil and what does Injil mean, and he jives with what I say as well. I mean, I don't not exactly the same, but I also think that the Injil that we are commanded to believe in isn't the actual scripture. Okay, it isn't the scripture. I don't believe that really that anything other than the Quran was revealed verbatim. Nothing. They weren't. Apart from the Quran, and of course what God had written for Musa on that Wah, right? The rest is more like what the Christians would say. It's inspiration, right? Inspiration. But the Injil was Jesus' teaching. Jesus, Isa alayhi salam, he never had an actual book, is scripture. I don't think. I think he had a teaching. Okay.
I agree with that.
So أنزل التوراة والإنجيل من قبل هدى للناس. Right. He sent down the teaching, which is a teaching which is the Injil and the Torah. Even the Torah. Remember, the Torah was not the Quran. Never the word Torah and Musa never appear in the same verse in the Quran. Right. The Torah was not sent to Musa. Okay, what was given to Musa was a kitab. Was kitab, right? And I've talked before of Khalil and others what kitab means. But what was revealed to Musa was a kitab. The Torah is an amalgamation, basically, of all of the what was revealed to Inna anzalna Torah fiha huda. We sent down the Torah, the law, just literally the law. We sent down the law. So the law, as revealed with all of the prophets together, it was like it was a cumulative effort, right?
Well, I
Kept on
disagree with that
receiving
because
prophets and laws.
if you read the Old Testament, Moses was given the 5 books. In the 5 books, you got the law in there. So the law was revealed to Moses, but it's contained in the 5 books that were given to Moses.
Yeah.
And the law that was given to Moses has not changed one bit through all the prophets that have been revealed from that time. So the law stayed the same, and every prophet who came after that, they did not bring a new law. They might have brought new kind of inspiration from God or some new words from God, but the law never changed. And this is sort of mentioned in the Quran as well, where Jesus said, Jesus was taught the law.
So why doesn't the Quran say that God gave Musa the Torah?
I'm not sure why, but if you read the Old
But that's
Testament,
what you see. This is what I mean by kitab. My idea of kitab is a system of laws, right?
No,
it's a system of laws.
I don't think kitab is a system of law. Kitab is, I think, just revelation. And
Yeah, I mean, well, revelation is tanzil, right? It's wahi or tanzil, or you can talk about it this way. But kitab, like like for example, يعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة. Okay, ويزكيهم, and he teaches them the kitab and the hikmah, and he purifies them. What is kitab here? What is hikmah? Okay, so إن الصلاة كانت على المؤمنين كتابا موقوتا, right? Salah has been on the believers a kitaban mawquta, right? So I don't think when kitab is of course the kitab can be a book. Those laws and stuff can be written in the book. Okay, فويل الذين يكتبون الكتاب بأيديهم. Okay, the woe to those who write the kitab by their own hands and say this is from God, right? And they say this is from God, ليشتروا به ثمنا قليلا, right? To buy with it a measly portion, right? So a kitab is can be written in actual kitab, but not necessarily that. I mean, even you have it now, right? In these wall inscriptions, pre-Islamic, early Islamic rock inscriptions, and that's a series of videos which I've been meaning to make for a while now, to translate some of these early Islamic inscriptions around Medina and Mecca, and these are called kitab, right? They're actually called kitab. Those who wrote, and this is these are things being etched in the stone around the time of revelation in Arabia, right? كتب هذا الكتاب. The one who wrote this kitab is so and so and so and so on. What is that? What does it mean, kitab here? It's literally just an engraving on the rock. Is that a book? No. Well, for them it was a book. It was called a kitab. Maybe not a book, but it was called a kitab. So and I'm diverging here. The Torah is, it was sent down. God sent the Torah. That's definitely. But Musa, it doesn't seem that Musa is related to the Torah from the thing. So I mean, that's another thing.
So if you read the Old Testament, then it makes sense that the law was given to Moses, and then that law has been passed on from generation to generation, up even to now, and it's contained within the books. So if you read the Old Testament, it makes sense.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I haven't read the Old Testament, so I'm not entirely sure about all these. But I'm what I see is that in the Quran, never you have Torah with Musa in the same thing. Okay, and like I said, I'm pretty sure that none of the like we said, the Quran is wahi. I mean, this is why it was it's considered the sign for the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was given verbatim words from God. I don't believe that happened with any of the other previous scriptures. I don't believe that they were verbatim words from God, like Bismillah, in the name of God, right? They're God speaking in his words, in his voice, in that language. I don't think that's the case of anything else but the Quran.
Could be, but in the end, it's
Yeah.
like I said, if God said we have to believe in the previous scriptures, and
Yeah, we believe in them.
even if there's
It's defining what they are.
yeah,
You know, I mean, we don't have a gospel, for example. We have 4 gospels. You know, what is the Injil,
yeah,
right?
but
Was the Injil? Do you believe that Isa had a writing, that he wrote something?
no, it is.
Okay, then
But
so
after
what
him,
what do we? Yeah.
the gospel were revealed, and this is what God brought into existence.
So you think the Gospels were the Injil? Because I don't, the Injil
no,
was given to Muhammad, to Isa alayhi salam in the
no,
Quran. It says
the gospels contain the Injil. So, but the
no, but look, وَيُعَلِّمُهُ التَّوْرَاةَ وَالْإِنْجِيلَ. You know, Isa alayhi salam, God says, وَيُعَلِّمُهُ التَّوْرَاةَ وَالْإِنْجِيلَ. He will teach him the Torah and the Injil,
yeah,
right? إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَا التَّوْرَاةَ وَالْإِنْجِيلَ مِنْ قَبْلِ هُدًى لِلنَّاسِ. We send down the Torah and the Injil before guidance to mankind. So it was with Isa. Isa had the Injil, right?
yeah,
You
no,
can't say it was revealed or it was revealed later. That those who wrote the Gospels we have now, they wrote, it was revealed to them. No, it wasn't revealed. It was revealed to Isa, right? And he taught it to people, and it was handed down like a hadith, like narrations, right?
well, this
Like
is what
narrations, and then ended up into like 4 Sira books,
thing is.
basically.
The thing is, if in the Quran it says, yeah, see, the people, the Christians, yeah, they're going to be judged by the Gospels. The Jews are going to be
hmm
judged by the Torah, the
No,
Old
they're not.
Testament.
No, they're not going to be judged by them. They are being asked to judge themselves, to judge by them, to live by them, to live by what God has revealed in them. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean they'll be judged by them. They'll be judged according to justice, like all of
Yeah.
us.
No, but I'm saying if they claim to following them books, they
Mm.
be judged according to them books, aren't they? So,
Mm.
for example, the Jews, they got a certain different laws, slightly different
Mm.
to the Quran, and maybe
Mm.
different. I mean, they're not much different in the gospel, because Jesus, said the gospel is not
I
going to
don't.
the
I don't think they're going to be judged by that. I think they are to use those to raise in goodness. Okay, لكل جعلنا منكم شرعة ومنهاجا. Each of you have given a sharia and a minhaja. Okay, and they are that it's a way and a law, and using that way and a law, they are supposed to race in goodness, and in their racing in goodness, in that they will be judged, right? And in the end, this is one of the things. I mean, we don't like to do in Islam is to leave some things for God. There's many verses in the Quran which says, فَاللَّهُ يَحْكُمُ بَيْنَكُمْ فِي مَا كُنْتُمْ فِيهِ تَخْتَلِفُونَ. God will judge between you in what you are differing from. So maybe a lot of the stuff that we have just been speaking about now is something we're just supposed to say, you know what, leave it, and God is going to judge about these things which we differ. Okay, just leave it for them, right? Leave it for God later. He will judge about these things. We don't have to have a judgment in all of these things, right? We don't have to. We just have to take what God has given us and race to goodness with it
but
as best we
yeah,
can.
whatever God's given us, there's laws in
Mm.
there. So there's laws in the Quran, there's laws
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
Old Testament.
yeah.
So are we not going to be judged that we follow these laws?
Not. I don't think in that kind of way. No, I don't think in that sort of way.
Because
I
there's a
think
Quranic
they.
verse that says
Yeah,
in it, they asked the prophet to judge, yeah, but it goes, look, they have their own
yeah,
law.
exactly.
Why don't they use that?
Yeah, we judge by them. We judge by them in this world. Like they are tools for us to use to be guided in this world, right? That's what we use to help us gain guidance here,
Yeah,
right?
but there's guidance and there's following laws. I think they're two different things. Guidance, trying to make us better people, but there are also laws that we got to follow. So
Yeah, exactly. So the laws will help to guide, right? They help to guide the society, the community, these sort of things, right? So, but we will be judged in the end. It's one judgment on Yom Qiyamah. God is going to judge by al-qist, right? By justice. It's not. It's not. I don't think it's going to be. Um, I don't. Well, I could be wrong, but it doesn't seem to me that's going to be that. Um, going to be judged in everybody will be judged by their circumstances and what they have, right? By
for
what they
example,
by what they've been given. Okay, but it will be sort of with from God's perspective of justice, right? Like you could have a law in the Torah which the person shouldn't follow in a certain situation, because obviously you shouldn't, all right, just by by simple understanding of justice. Okay, he'll be judged in that situation to not follow it, I suppose. But again, maybe these are the things that we're supposed to just leave for God to, I mean, that's why that verse is saying that, right? Saying that, to each of you I've given a sharia minhaja, and if God had wanted, he would have, he would have made you one people. So race to goodness, to God you will be returned, and he will judge about what used to differ. So maybe we shouldn't argue about, these things that we're differing in about now. We can spend
No,
probably an eternity arguing about it.
no, but I think that means each sort of kind of faith here, like the Jews and the Christians and the Muslims, they've got their own book to follow, and where we differ, yeah, we leave it up to God. And even if amongst the Muslim community, yeah, it's like if one party is saying, "No, we interpret this verse to say this," and another party saying, "No, we interpret it to mean this," then God will decide on their judgment who's right. But you still got to follow what's written in the Quran or
We'll
the
decide wrong. I mean, just saying what will differ, but and the things that we differ upon, it doesn't mean one person is right, the other person is wrong. Might not be like that. Who knows what will be exactly. But like I said, I mean, we just take what the verse says. To each of you, you've given a sharia minhaja, and we should race to goodness with them. All right. So yes, the Jews can follow their scripture and let them judge according to it. The Christians can do the same. Muslims can do the same. All right. And in what we differ upon, yes, we leave it. I mean, one of the things we're talking about here, what we differ upon, is should we learn the scriptures of the others? No, we don't need to, do we? If we've been given them sharia minhaja to follow, and in it we can use it to race to goodness, do we really need to learn the scriptures of the others? No, but we can have iman in that God has revealed. I mean, and it's always in a general way. قُلْ آمَنْتُ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ مِنْ كِتَابٍ in the Quran, right? It's just a general, right? قُلْ, say, O Muhammad, I have faith, I have iman in whatever God has revealed of a book, of kitab.
Yeah, I don't believe you have to.
Anzal.
Yeah, I don't. You have to learn the Old Testament, the Gospels. I'm just saying that it helps if you're seeking knowledge. It helps to.
Yeah, it helps. Like I said, I might hopefully one day read the. I actually tried to start reading Genesis. I got up to, I forget where I got up to, somewhere in Ibrahim's story, I think, or maybe I only started in the place. I think I started from somewhere around the story of Ibrahim, but I found it to be not much benefit. I'm used to the Quran. I'm used to taking a few verses and thinking about them deeply. This is I'm not used to this kind of having to narrative of this, and then he did this, and this person fought you, and he went over to here, and he gave him this many sheep and goats, and then he went to this king over there, and he thought that there was misunderstanding between Ibrahim and the king and the wife, and I thought, why did you lie to me? And the depiction of God in it, and I don't like it, to be honest. I don't like it. Right? It doesn't seem one of it doesn't seem a logical God, to be honest. Right? And a lot of us
I know what you mean, but it takes time. It takes time to understand who God is and how He communicates with us. And it's like, I don't know. For me, it was. I personally found the Quran's great, but it's too basic. And if you want detail, you look at the Old Testament, because that is very, very detailed, and you're thinking, this is so like Psalms.
Maybe I'll graduate from the Quran to the New Testament synopsis, and then I'll go to university level with the Old Testament.
Try the Psalms, and Ecclesiastes, and they're amazing. It's
we'll see. I mean, like I said, right now, I've got a lot to learn in the Quran. Yeah. All right. Okay. Look, I want to bring on. I've got Iron Man. He's been waiting. I want to bring him on, and already, my God, it's been 1 hour 45 minutes
sorry about
almost.
that.
No problem. It's fine. It's been a nice discussion. I don't think there's anybody. I don't think there's anybody in chat. So Iron Man, I'll bring you on, but let's keep it short if you don't mind, right? Because it's getting pretty late over here. All right. Okay. Thanks a lot, Sam.
Take
Really
care.
good speaking to you.
Thanks.
Assalamu alaikum. Take care.
Fine.
Okay. Let's bring you on, Iron Man. I can see you've got something ready to show us. Assalamu alaikum. Hey, how you doing?
Good, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Good to hear from you again.
Anyway, bro, you took too long with the other guy, man.
Yeah. Well, you know, he hasn't been on for a long time, and I know him. So I wanted to. I mean, it was nice. It was a nice chat.
Okay. Right, I'm just sending a link in private chat. Hope the guy gets it.
Okay.
I hope it's the right link. Right, 1 second. Okay, anyway, one thing I'd like to tell everyone is I've got some good news here. I've managed to write this Quran app on Android devices, all of them. I can give you a little demo over here. Okay. All right. Maybe I can't. Maybe I need to switch over to this cam over here. All right. Can you see my Android screen? Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Let's see if I can change this.
Okay. Here we go. Yeah. This is my Android. Well, it's a virtual Android screen. Yeah. So I can show you.
Okay.
Let's go over here. Click on this. Right. This is my app. Right. Let's run it. Okay. Now, yeah, we can input anything we like. Here, for example, if I want to listen to chapter 103, I just type it in. Oops, 103, and then press this button here.
By time. Indeed, mankind is in loss.
إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر.
Except for those who have believed and done righteous deeds, and advised each other to truth, and advised each other to patience.
Okay. I think this video might get flagged, yeah.
No problem, it's fine.
I forgot all about the Arabic.
It's
Okay, here
fine.
we go again, yeah. Another demonstration, yeah. Search anything you want in the Quran. For example, I want to search for the word light. So I'm going to type it in over here. Press this. Okay, now we've got some results. Right, we're going to choose one of these results here. Okay, let's go for this one here, yeah. 2435. Could be a long one. Then press enter.
الله نور السماوات والأرض مثل نوره كمشكاة فيها مصباح المصباح في زجاجة الزجاجة كأنها كوكب دري يوقد من شجرة مباركة.
Okay, I'm going to just stop it just in case it gets proper flagged.
It'll probably be flagged anyway because you know the YouTube algorithms are pretty hardcore. Even if just a little bit, even 2 seconds, and they start to flag things. But it's fine. If need be, they have a system now where you can actually mute the offending part. So if need be, I'll do that. But I'll probably just leave it because what usually happens if it first gets flagged for copyright, but then what happens is that the copyright owner will be getting the ad revenue and stuff. But I don't even have any ad revenue, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. Yeah, and on top of that, yeah, I mean, I haven't done it yet because I've only spent like 1 week on this program. But any ayah that gets presented, yeah, I think it's possible for me to take a snapshot of the ayah with the background, and then you can use that in like presentations, like in videos or in streams, or you can send it to your friend on social networking sites, etc., or upload it to picture sites. Also, you'll be able to copy the ayah as well, the Arabic, the translation, into the clipboard, so you can obviously paste it to your friends on certain social networking sites or whatever. So this is what's going to be possible, inshallah, in the near future.
It does look.
Apps.
Yeah, it does look on the. This is all on your Android device, right?
Yeah.
It does look more sleek on Android, to be honest, than it did on the PC.
Well, you know what? It looks exactly the same on the PC and on the Android.
So these are all the changes you've made, right?
Yeah, because I mean, it's exactly the same layout, same pictures, same resolution.
Okay. I guess because I was comparing it from last time you brought it on.
Well, I don't know what I did last time.
All right, cool, nice. So, what's the progress on having this out on the app? So now this can be on the Play Store, right? Eventually, but you still need to package it all together into one thing, to one app, right?
Yeah, well, I'm hoping, that it's going to end up on the Play Store. Yeah, but like I said to you, I've only spent 1 week on this.
Yeah.
And there could be some bugs in the program, so I'm gonna
take your time with it.
For something.
Yeah, take your time with it. It's better to have it. It's better to have it come out strong than weaken and having to keep debugging it.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, brilliant.
So
good.
The future's looking good, inshallah.
Inshallah. All right, brilliant. Excellent. All right, okay. So if you don't mind, I think we'll end it now. I don't have anybody else waiting backstage. Let's see if there's anything happening in the chat. If anybody has anything in the chat, you can just, any question, you can put it on again. And then we'll, I don't think there should be anything now. Thanks for those in the chat. All right, okay. So I think we'll end it here, okay? All right, Ayman, Jazakallah khair again, and thank you, inshallah. We'll see that.
Before you end it, let me just put my email address in there for anyone who wants to get in touch.
Yeah, go ahead, everybody. Let him get his email and just copy it.
Yeah, this email address is in the stream. Yeah, so if you need it, you'll have to come into the stream link and go to private chat, because that's
in the private, because I can't see it, to be honest. I can't see your email anywhere.
Well, I've sent one link, email address.
I can't, to be honest, I can't see them. Where do I need to find it? All right, it's in the private chat. I see. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I think you have to come in through the link. Let me put the link in the normal chat. Anybody wants to come in, share, not on that, invite. So it's the same. It's the link that's pinned at the top of the chat, but I put it in now again. So just join with this link, and then on the right you'll see you have chat or private chat. I don't know what it looks like from your angle, but probably says private chat. And in private chat you'll see two things by Ayman, a link to a video and his email. So if anybody wants to come in, I'll give a couple of minutes for that.
Or what I could do is, yeah, I'll just write the first bit of my email over here. Yeah, mixtech, and it's at gmail.com.
Is it because of censoring? You were trying not to write it in the normal comments?
Yeah, well, you know what happens is when I paste a link in, the comments, any kind of link, even an email address, I just don't see it in the stream channel. Yeah, the stream comments. I just don't see anything there. But every other thing, I do see there, every other comment.
All right, I see. Well, yeah, I mean, that's his email. You can see it now in the normal comments. It's just that and at gmail.com. Okay. I think the technique to do it is you write that and you put a space and then you just write at. So it'd be what? MIJTEC, and then you write at. You put it like that. I think that's the way to get around the centering. Sounds Dutch, yeah? All right, cool. All right, okay. So I think we'll end it there. Thanks a lot again, Ayman, and thanks a lot everybody for coming. I'll remove you first, Ayman, and then end the stream, okay? Okay, so now. Okay, so again, thanks everybody for tuning in. These streams seem to be getting longer, but I think it's just this week and last week because there was a lot to say. I'll try to keep it next week back to finishing on the hour, inshallah. Okay, so see you all again next week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.